What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Marvel video. So if you're new to the channel, please do consider leaving a like and subscribe down below if you do enjoy the video, and check out our other videos on Westworld and other Marvel topics on our channel. So we've got some interesting rumours and news coming from all over the internet here in this video, featuring the X-Men, Namor the Submariner, and as well the Avengers for Avengers 5. So let's start off with the Avengers 5. So Spider-Man has been reportedly rumoured to possibly lead the new Avengers. Now this is quite interesting because obviously Spidey has been a very experienced member of the team. He only really properly joined the Avengers realistically in Infinity War. So he hasn't been out on some real major missions with the rest of the Avengers just yet, but he obviously did get snapped, and he has been with the Avengers in Endgame and Infinity War in that fight, technically with the Avengers, although they were actually destroyed. And the only really Avengers we had in Infinity War was the secret Avengers, of course, Falcon, Natasha Romanoff, and of course Steve Rogers. Now, is there a precedent for him to ever lead the Avengers? Now, obviously, this is a bit of a real long shot for him to lead the Avengers, considering the fact that he is still very young. He's still technically in high school, and, well, he hasn't really found his footing. Obviously, this fits in very well with what they're doing with the MCU in making Spider-Man kind of de-aged. In the Sam Raimi trilogy, he was only really in high school for a bit, then in college, and then out in the big bad world. And they've really taken their time with Spidey, because let's not forget, in the comics, he actually had a big career within high school. He was a high schooler, and a lot of the early comics in the 60s were him in high school. So it really feels weird that he would lead the Avengers. Now, he may lead the Avengers in just a different way. Now, in the comics in recent history, he actually funded the Avengers because he had his Parker Industries money. He actually funded them and was able to join them. And it's been a long trope and meme about him actually joining the Avengers. So part of me is thinking that's probably not actually going to happen. And that will probably end up with him actually leading the Young Avengers. Now, there is a rumour that he will lead the Young Avengers, so him pulling double duty, leading the new Avengers, being in the Avengers, and the Young Avengers, leading them, I don't really think that that's actually going to happen. So more realistically, out of these rumours, I think he's more likely to actually lead the Young Avengers. Now, the Young Avengers obviously will be piecemeal together from the Disney Plus show. Obviously, in the Young Avengers, we have the children of good old Scarlet Witch, which will obviously be a show on Disney Plus. So with that in mind, coming out of that will come out of Scarlet Witch's stories there. And then in She-Hulk, we may see further characters such as Hulkling come out of that, I expect. And we'll then see a Young Avengers. And I expect possibly, if they really are doubling down on what they're doing on Disney Plus, if they really are going full force and not making another S.H.I.E.L.D. mishap, well, I think they will probably have Tom Holland reprise his role and actually be in that show. So I think that's most likely. I can't see him actually leading the Avengers, but I can see him being more of a Captain America role on that team, as in leading the team out in the field, while Captain Marvel is the sort of overseer there, her being the Tony Stark kind of big picture sort of thing there, in my opinion. Now, we've also received word that Captain Marvel 2 and Spider-Man 3 will set up the story for Avengers 5. So where will that actually go? We've had interesting leaks come out that the Brood and Rogue will be featured in Captain Marvel. And then we've also got the feature over in Spider-Man 3, the rumour that Electro may be involved. So what I would think they might actually do is they may actually feature mutants. Spider-Man was quite notably a friend of the mutants, but bigger than that, he was also a friend of the Fantastic Four. So what I'm thinking here is that Captain Marvel will introduce mutants, and Spider-Man 3 will actually introduce the Fantastic Four and mutants in a different way. While we have Rogue over on Captain Marvel 2, I think that we're actually going to get the Fantastic Four and Franklin Richards over in Spider-Man 3. Because obviously in the comics, Fantastic Four were there and then Spider-Man featured in their comics heavily. Now it's rumoured in a report that we will be getting Franklin Richards and the Fantastic Four, and the big thing will be that Franklin Richards, the powerful son of Reed and Sue, will be heavily fought over by a version of Magneto and Charles Xavier. So in Spider-Man 3, if we get Fantastic Four, you can then introduce more mutants there. That will then set us up for Avengers 5, which will be the mutants. So with that in mind, having these be introduced will be really, really cool. But that would also mean having an older, kind of an adulter version of the Richards. And I really do hope that they go with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Now, the interesting thing is that they may be replacing Black Panther. And obviously, Black Panther is a big character. This is a report which I don't really believe. I don't believe that they will be replacing Black Panther. What I think they're doing, and what is rumoured at the moment, is that Namor will be coming, and someone like Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead will be in that role. So I don't believe that, but I do think that we will be getting Namor in Black Panther 2, because they mention in Endgame that there was a earthquake near Wakanda, and seeing that would be really, really cool, seeing Namor come out and try and attack Wakanda. Again, another mutant there as well, seeing all of these characters. So I think that the birth of the mutants will be coming out of Captain Marvel 2, Spider-Man 3, and obviously Black Panther 2. Now, we also had a report that the Sony Marvel connection, their deal, will be expanded upon greatly. And like I've said in previous videos, I do believe that this will be expanded on heavily, and this is why they kind of play their cards. We will be getting Tom Holland in more properties. He'll be in his own movies, he'll be in the Avengers, and obviously he'll be in the Disney Plus shows at some point. As well as that, it probably does actually go both ways, and we may get Tom Holland in Venom 2, maybe just as a tease or the back of his head or something like that as well. But the reports that Fantastic Four are being heavily involved is really, really cool. And I think that the best way to introduce the X-Men is just like the way they introduced the Avengers, by teasing them and make sure everything's connected. Because let's not forget, that's what made the MCU so special at the start, because it rewarded you for seeing every single movie. If you said to your friends, oh, did you see that character pop up in X movie? You'd be like, oh, actually, I want to go see that now. I want to see that happen, and things like that. But these reports, if they're true, are very, very curious and mean that we're going to get a really, really cool future MCU. Midway through this video, I mentioned that Electro will be the villain for Spider-Man 3. Well, that is really curious, because we've also had word that Green Goblin may also be featured in this as well. That would mean we're getting the Sinister Six. Obviously, the Sinister Six being the biggest group of villains to face Spider-Man. They are iconic, and we've already seen most of them actually be featured within the movies already, such as Vulture, Scorpion, and as well as that, Mysterio. So we may not be getting the classic original version, but we may actually be getting a version of the Sinister Six there, if these reports are to be believed. And while we may have had that previously, or it was hinted at in the Amazing Spider-Man version, maybe the Sinister Six movie, which Sony wanted to do, perhaps we'll be seeing that folded into the MCU, and I really do hope that is how things actually plan out, because personally, I am very, very excited to see a Sinister Six version, and I really hope that the big tentpole movies at end of phases, they kind of switch away from the Avengers and have different versions. Maybe we can have a tentpole version featuring Spider-Man. But let me know what you think. But that's all for this video. Please drop a like, please subscribe. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.